Folks, you've been watching the channel for the last couple of weeks. You know that I'm noodling, playing with. There's something here around a three-step process to get wealthy. I'm sharing it with lots of my experts because I'm looking for them to poke holes in it. They have different experiences, they speak to different audiences. And I want to know if this hits or if it misses. And the one and only Mr. Brian Adamson is next up. You ready for this thing?
Yes, sir, I am.
It's three steps, man. It's three simple steps. Step one, thou shalt create dry powder. Now, simply said, you could do that one of two ways. You could do like Olivia and I did, where you whack expenses, right? We went from spending 100% of our take home pay to spending 50. That 50% became dry powder, disposable income, whatever you want to call it. That then becomes stacks that grow every week, month, year. Okay, that's the seeds. The other option, which I didn't do, but probably should have also, is increase your income, right? Way you create, right? You take an assessment of where you are today. The way to create stacks is lower expenses, raise income, simply said. So I'll stop there. That is our step one. You must have dry powder to get started on this wealth journey. What do you think?
Oh, I'm tracking. I'm
Okay.
tracking. Number
All right.
one is create some margin, whether you increase your income, lower your expenses, or a
Or
combination of
both.
the two. I'm with you 100%. Yes, sir.
All right. Step two, you have to become elite at something. For me, I wanted to define what that meant. It means I became an elite investor, not in California real estate, not in Fresno real estate. I became elite in 93703, three or four bedroom houses, two bath, two car garage, one story between 1,250 and 1,750 square feet. I now call that a buy box. I looked at that one tiny, tiny buy box for 3.5 years. I became an elite investor in that buy box. Nothing else, not duplexes, not quads, not condos, townhouses, trailer parks, this squirrel syndrome. And again, let's be very clear. That was what I was elite at. You can become elite at classic cars, at land, out of state invest, whatever that is. But you have to become disproportionately focused, anchored on your thing. And that means ignore everything else. How does that hit you?
I like it, Mike. I like it a lot. I think there has to be a linear focus, right? And oftentimes we get distracted and we abort like the thing that we should be focused on most. And yeah, I agree with you, man. I'm liking it so far. You two for two with me.
Yeah. And again, let's be clear as we in step two, it's also permission not to do anything else. I hate it when people go, I'm going to become my buy box is this. And they're locked in for 3 weeks, 6 weeks. And then I see them on the 8th week and they're like over here or over here. I'm like, did you not hear my story? 3.5 years? That's not, that's a little bit more than 8 weeks, right? It's like you have to become disproportionately. And then number three, and the coup de grace is time.
Mm.
If you do step one and you do step two for a decade, you have your chances of becoming wealthy are astronomical. It's 10 years. It's not, I'm going to do this for a year. It's not, I'm going to do this for 4 years. It's, I'm going to do this for 10 years. Because when you have 10 years, you have this compounding effect. You're still stacking paper. You're having the asset that you chose spit off more, right? Let's just think like you're into flipping classic cars for whatever reason. The first one you do, you make a couple of bucks, and then you're doing more, and then you're doing more, and it just compounds. By year 10, if you stay focused, living below your means, you're not increasing your lifestyle. If you stay focused on becoming elite on your thing in a decade, it's like hard not to be wealthy, in my opinion.
This last one I struggle with a bit. While I agree with you wholeheartedly that time is the last piece of the puzzle,
Yes.
but can we compress that time,
Oh,
right? Because if we really become elite at number two, now all of a sudden you have, because there's always more money than there are competent operators and opportunities.
amen.
So you come really elite at number two and people identify with you as such. And now all of a sudden you got more dry powder coming in that can really exasperate this thing and throw some gasoline on the fire to where you're not solely dependent upon your dry powder exclusively. Is that
Amen.
fair?
Oh,
Okay.
of course. No,
Okay.
like that is a key to step two is the like when you become no. How did I get my first 3 or 4 million bucks in private money? I wrote on Bigger Pockets back in, I don't know, 9 or 10. I talked to Josh Jorkin. The interview is still there. I never asked for a penny.
Mm,
Millions of dollars flowed to me because I just shared that I was elite in this market. And I was paying 10 or 12% interest on
for
this
sure.
millions of bucks because I could make the numbers work. So, yeah, you're absolutely right. It can be collapsed, but I'm not the guy that's going to talk about the best case scenario. I want your ass signed up for a decade. If you get it done in 6, you're going to thank me.
For
If you get
sure.
it done in 4, you're going to thank me. But I don't want you coming into this thinking you're going to get it done in 6 and then be upset when it's not 6.
For
I
sure.
think there is very little chance that if you stay focused, if you stay disciplined, if you don't increase your lifestyle, if you don't over leverage, if you don't get bad debt, if you don't, you're wealthy in a decade. It's that simple.
Yeah. Yeah. It is the inevitable, Mike. No doubt about it. The other piece, though, that people can't miss in these three
Mm-hmm.
is the timepiece. While the inevitable is the 10 years, that's only if you consistently buying deals though, and great
That's
deals.
the key.
The
Yes.
key is you have to you can't buy one and then decide I'm gonna take a few years. That you won't get there like that.
No, you're
You
not
got
going
to
to
be
get there.
consistently in your buy box buying great deals every single year.
This all feeds on itself. You right, like you can get started on step 1 and then you have a couple of success and then you increase your expenses. Well, that just pulls you backwards. Why are
There
you
you
doing that? You're becoming elite at something and then you become bored. How many people have we seen over the years that we put at the elite status that got distracted or bored? Are you kidding me? What are you doing? You're almost there.
I've seen students come in our program have a 6-figure year and then crickets for 2 years. I'm like, what are you
Where'd
doing?
you go?
What are we doing? I thought this was why we were doing this, right?
Yeah.
But that's the difference between trying and training.
Yeah.
Some people just want to try real estate. Others are going to train in it. And number 2 in your wealth formula is indicative of training, not trying.
Yes. For me, these 3 steps, and I'm getting more clarity on this. These 3 steps are really a feedback loop. When I first envisioned it, it was kind of like 1, 2, 3. It is absolutely a feedback loop that just goes faster and faster. I see.
For
Thank
sure.
you. You're helping me visualize this, so I
For
appreciate it.
sure. I love it, man. You know what's interesting, Mike, and you know this. Everything about success is really oversimplified. So much so that people almost don't believe that it is that simple. But I'm looking at these 3 steps and I'm like, Mike is spot on. Create dry powder, create margin in your life, become elite at something, and time to take care of the rest of it as long as you're consistent. Like it really
Just
is.
stay at it. Yeah.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
love it.
There's something here. There's something here. Well, Brian, do me a favor. Where can people find you? And again, let's point them at your 5-day challenge because I think more and more people should at least take a look at that.
Oh, for sure. So you can find me on YouTube at Brian Adamson Real Estate. And thank you so many ORAT subscribers have come over and I love you guys. All right. So thank you. And you can go to www.iflipchallenge.com if you ever want to attend one of our 5-day challenges. It's a phenomenal tool to get started, to learn these 3 steps and continue to build off of that as well.
Awesome. Thanks, buddy.
Yes, sir.